You ready?
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to flip back to the other screen. The way that we have it set up is so we can see the real time there, but then the comments, because it does a weird thing where it's not exactly
right.
So you got to flick back to OBS or we're going to all lose our minds.
Yeah, but I have to resize it so you can get to the comment.
Well, I'm getting an ad. That means something's happening. That's cool. Yeah, we're all on. We're on. Look at that.
Exciting.
Yes.
I've broken it.
Yeah, you have. Go back to OBS.
There we are.
All
Doesn't
right.
work.
It's all good. Oh, and we're just going to start this whole thing out with me being...
That's the alarm that says it's time to go, yeah?
That's the alarm that says it's time to go.
Time to go live.
Hi, peoples. Do you see us? We all good?
Yeah, it's comments.
Are there people?
Probably asking if we're going to start up yet.
Yeah. Yay. Good. Awesome. So we're here.
We are here.
We're here.
There's
We're
an
here on a Saturday, which is really weird, right?
But there's an extra person here too.
And we have an extra person here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are you?
So Apprentice. That's me. Hi.
We have the so practice here today.
Hi.
And she
You're
doesn't,
welcome.
she doesn't 100% know how she feels about this. I did not coerce her into this, for the record. I did not. She said she wanted to. So
Right.
I feel like
we're here doing the thing.
5
But
minutes
it's
ago, she
weird,
needed
right?
to change the mind.
It's only weird because I'm not used to like looking at cameras and things. It's a little weird.
Right. Well, I mean, this is the pontoon hangout, so there's a lot of just doing this and
Yeah.
not a ton
Not
of
a
doing
lot
that.
of
So it works out.
It's cool that you're there watching, but we're just going to converse here.
I
Yeah.
just don't know where to look.
Yeah,
Screen
seriously.
here, screen here.
It's super crazy. Like
Yeah, that can be a bit much.
I still get nervous every time. I get nervous every time I turn on the damn camera to film a face video, though. So that's wild to me. That by now I haven't figured that out. But
You've
you
only
know,
done it 500 times.
it is what
It's
it
only
is.
year 2.
Yes.
Only year 2.
Oh, Marianne just
Telling
said,
you
nice to
about
finally see your face. You were amazing, and I love to see your soap magic. That's so nice.
Thanks.
Look at that.
I'm gonna cry
It's
on
the
here.
sweetest thing ever. Don't cry. We're not crying today. No.
It's fine.
I kind of feel like crying today. Today's a weird day.
We're all tired.
Yeah, we're all very tired. Was up way late because the Soap and Clay Kidlets had a sleepover. And we've got to stop doing that because there's never any sleeping that gets done. And Mr. Soap and Clay is tired because he's been destroying the house.
Yes.
Really? You know?
Also, if there's any coughing, it's because we've been inhaling drywall dust for the last 48 hours.
Yeah.
So, literally tearing the house apart.
It's been a mess. It's been fun.
Yeah.
The wall looks good though.
Oh yeah, the wall is great.
The wall looks great. It's awesome.
We're making progress. You didn't see the downstairs though. Did you?
No, he said that I could look, but I got
Yeah, I don't want to be in there.
the door's shut. I think that's
That's to contain the dust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to keep it all in one place for sure.
There's no drywall left in there.
Yes. This angle gives us teasers of what? The pictures on the other wall. Oh yeah, no, we do have on the other wall as well.
First time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a different angle. We're just figuring it all out. Is the audio okay, guys? Like, I'm naturally loud, and so the mic is way far away from me because the Soap Apprentice and Mr. Soap and Clay are quiet.
Dogs are barking or something. All right.
Yeah, it's a kidlet.
Children are about.
Yep. And as always, we have kids running in and out, so it's a whole ass thing. I do need to do the thing, though, for, like, when we put it on all proper, like. So I'm going to do that.
For what thing?
The thing. I'm going to do the thing.
All right, you do that thing.
Okay. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things, and you are here for day 63 of 365 days of soap, and we're doing it live. We are doing it live with Mr. Soap and Clay and the Soap Apprentice, and we are doing soap shop horror stories today, which is going to be fun, and that might seem weird that Mr. Soap and Clay is here for that, but he has his own version of soap shop horror stories, for sure. And so we're going to do this. We're going to keep it cheeky and fun. We don't want to do any sort of like mass hate, and obviously if there are specific things, we are not name dropping anything because we don't like hate, but we are going to have some fun with that. And also, one of the things that in the little poll thing that people said they wanted to do was like soap business building stuff. And I've had a lot of people DMing me in the past couple months going, how can I support the channel? And because like I have a lot of soap makers that follow me, as you might expect. And they had been suggesting super chats. So super chats are turned on with this. And so if you'd like to ask a business building question, we can sort of pop out of everything that we're doing and make sure that that gets addressed. But otherwise, we're just here to talk shit and have a good time. And I hope you guys are too. All of that was ad-lib. Do you guys see a teleprompter there? Isn't it weird? I ad-lib everything. I've had multiple people asking me if I like put together scripts, and I'm like, oh.
I feel like it defeats the purpose of live if you're going to write it all down before.
Well, scripts for everything, though. I assume that I do, and I don't do any of that. It's all completely just an ad-lib, for sure.
As it should be. The children pressing their face.
It's really creepy.
So going back to the super chat thing, I'm technically the one that's in charge of our IT around here, and I've not managed that before. So if you've popped out a comment or a super chat or whatever, I don't know how it comes through yet or how to address it. So don't get upset. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I'm pretty sure it just does its little thing there. So yes, Amberly, absolutely. I get it. And supporting the channel and doing the thing, it's fun. So we appreciate that regardless. But I am actually, she's really distracting. And so I'm going to see what it is that she needs. And then you can talk about, oh, she took off. Okay, good. Right.
Actually.
Then I didn't need to do that awkward getting over the thing with my thing. Right.
That's
awesome.
just a slow motion karate kick.
Love that for me. Yeah. Had Pilates today, and so I'm very sore. I was surprised that I was able to actually get the leg over it.
That was like a slow motion Chuck Norris roundhouse.
That was something, impressive. Right? Yeah. We could speed it up, and it could. That
would be awesome.
It'd be fun.
Except when you went halfway and decided to stop.
Right, and then I decided to stop.
That would look amazing.
So there's that. Yeah. So yeah, Soap Shop Horror Stories. I think Mr. Soap and Clay should actually go first on this because he does have interesting ones.
I can go first on this because I suggested that we start a soap shop, and that place turned out to be a horror story.
Yeah.
So before there was the brick and mortar, before there was a store you could go to, there were farmers markets.
But mostly online.
Various events. It definitely started online, and then decided to expand it and have interaction with people and see customers face to face, not just be on a website. And we were doing an event in a place called Freight House in Tacoma, by the Tacoma Dome, where there were concerts and whatnot. And I was walking through the place before the event started, and they had a couple of spots that were open for lease. And it was incredibly affordable. And, there were businesses open all around it. I thought this is a great idea. It's like a train station. It's a commuter hub. Lots and lots of people come through there. It'd be great for foot traffic. So I suggested, I'm like, hey, this is a spot. Maybe you should just open a place, and instead of packing your stuff around every weekend, you can pop it into a store and people can come see you. And that place turned out to be probably one of the worst places you could exist.
Oh yeah, Freight House is crazy. Do you go to Freight House?
Yeah, I mean, I've been. I just wasn't there while you guys were there, but I know the general consensus amongst the shop owners there. So
that place is shit. It's nuts. That is the wildest place. Oh, we have a couple super chats. Look at this. We have Violet for $5. Thank you, Violet. That's so nice. It says just a test and for all of the recipes. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I hope you guys are loving the recipes. They're definitely fun to share and do and all of the things. So that's cool. And, that's actually an interesting question from TX Sit. I have no idea. Some of these I'm just going to get wrong. Why would a soap go rancid? Love your channel. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Soap going rancid is actually very interesting. Kind of doesn't happen. It depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about dreaded orange spots, that's usually the rancidity of the oils. The soap in and of itself, like using the soap, still completely safe to do. But it's an aesthetic thing, and it can give off and off smell. As far as like a soap, I have had lots of questions about soap molding. The pH of soap is not conducive to mold and bacteria growing on it. That's why so often you hear during the whole COVID thing or whatever, antibacterial soap is not necessary. Just soap and water is fine because it breaks down the barrier on the all of that. So I don't know exactly why, if you're talking about a specific thing. If you want to send me pictures to my email, you can totally do that, and I can help you troubleshoot. That would be cool. But yeah, so the Freight House was this crazy place where we were for a little bit. And it's like, it's a cool building, it's a cool idea, but it was basically the place where like dreams went to die. And
The layout is like an indoor strip mall.
yeah. And we
But
started.
none of the businesses have walls that go all the way to the ceiling. They're all like 6 foot high
Right.
and then just open.
They have good food though.
Yeah, they have great
They have
food.
great food.
Yeah, they're
Great food.
the fish and chips place in the restaurant area there is ranked every year. Like it is amazing. Best fish and chips in Tacoma. They have great food. It's just that place was, you know that song Heathens by 21 Pilots? It was that. Like people would not trust customers that came in because that's how infrequently they did so. Like who are you? Who sent you? What do you know?
And the further away you get from where all the food is,
Yeah.
it gets worse and worse.
Yeah, and
Downstairs is scary. Downstairs is scary.
Yeah.
That's where the event was, right? Down
Yeah.
in the ballroom. Oh,
Yeah. And
There
you're
would
like,
be,
hey, there's an open space here. It was something cheap. It was like $600 a month
if
or
that,
something.
yeah,
it was so
like,
cheap.
I mean, but it was. You met a partner and you found another place and you expanded and you learned how to manage.
It's a great
crazy
test ground.
customers.
Yeah. Or if you have places like that, like, 'cause I know there are a lot of like antique row type places in all the cities and all the places. If you have an opportunity to do something like that, it's a very small investment just to get your feet wet with actually opening a retail shop and seeing what works and what doesn't and just playing with it. It's fun, but we left pretty quickly. That
Yeah.
was not fun.
It was basically a no risk way to dip your toe in the water.
Right, exactly. Oh, look, we have another super chat here from the Alchemist Oasis for $5. Thank you. And it says, for the Apprentice and all the inspiration she sends out to the rest of us.
That was sweet.
This
Isn't it sweet? You are loved. You have this huge ass fan base. Like, I keep telling you, you need to start your art channel and do all the things. You need to start your art channel and do all the things.
You know, I have three videos that are all like edited and could potentially be dropped.
I love it.
Kind of, you know.
So you're ready to go. You're just nervous.
That and I don't know. I don't like getting burnt out, so it takes me a while to actually produce anything. So it takes me like 2 weeks to do one thing, and so I have to like manage.
Daily content
time.
is not required.
Yeah.
Right. I could not.
See, that was a psychotic thing that I did starting out the channel.
But it's very you.
Right.
It's very you to go, yeah, let's do a video every single day for an entire year.
Right.
And then that year was over and you're like, all right, year 2, let's do
do
it.
And that was the whole thing. I think the reason why I started with daily content, though, like you guys can attest, is I knew if I started a channel and just sort of took it like as, you know, whatever, that I wouldn't stick with it. And so setting this stupid goal, and even if there were just 12 people watching me my entire channel or whatever, I set that goal on the interwebs. Daily content every single day for a year. I had to do it. Had to go do it every day. And as a result, you know, it's been fun. And now we're in year 2.
There had to be a
Great.
public.
It's wild.
Otherwise, if you just decided to publish a video whenever you woke up and felt like it might have been 8.
Right.
Right, yeah.
Exactly. Would have done it every once in a while. And that's the thing, like people ask me a lot of like, how do you start a YouTube channel? Any tips, any whatever. Set a goal that will help you. Like it really will.
Just go for it. Exhaust yourself.
Yeah. Well, don't do that. As they just said, psychotic is totally me. You don't need to be that. That's not necessary. Chris, I don't really know if it is worth the drive. It's a very weird place. It's very weird. Freight House used to be really cool. I guess that was like the hop-in spot in like the 90s or something in Tacoma. But the current owner of the building has just let the building fall into disrepair. And all of the shops there are, I mean, I don't even know who's there anymore. It's very, they have a cool art gallery, which nobody ever goes and looks at. They have an awesome Lego store downstairs.
It's never open though.
Oh, it's never
I've
open.
never been when it's open.
Well,
No,
that's
he's
one of
not
the problems.
scrabbling.
Yeah,
The
because
guy
he
that
has to
owns
make
it.
his money.
Sure.
He does big, cool, like structures for like events and stuff. It's wild. But I don't know. It's hit or miss because the majority of the shops are rarely open there because the aforementioned lack of traffic. So,
I would say if you need a batch of knives sharpened,
oh yeah, that knife place is great.
it's the best. From what I've heard, it's the best in the state of Washington for getting knives sharpened, like kitchen knives or Bowie knives if you're into that. Whatever. If you've got some knives you need sharpened, take them to freight house, and then mill around the place while they're being sharpened.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Otherwise, I wouldn't go there.
The link goes right up to Freight House, and so you can hop on the link and you can actually take it to like the art museum or the glass museum or whatever. And so if you did end up going to Freight House, you could also go to all the different museums and do like an entire downtown Tacoma thing and make it an entire day.
And free parking there too, which is cool.
Yes,
yeah,
that too.
I'm pretty sure Freight House calls free parking.
Yeah, free parking. There's like
there's
a giant garage. It seems like you should probably pay for it, but you don't have to.
Yeah,
that's because it's also an Amtrak and a light rail station.
Right.
So you can hop on the train there at Freight House. Freight House is a train station that they've now put businesses in.
Right. Yeah, it's an old train station. And we are very interested in buying it. So as soon as this awful person that owns it sells it, like wants to sell it, we're going to do that thing and turn it into something cool. But
as soon as the drama with the county and the city and all the other officials is settled.
So that's your first horror story with the Freight House thing, though, would be Freight House, just doing it in the first place.
Yeah.
Because then I made you build everything.
That was all right. I like building things.
And rebuild it.
And then change the
layout. And move it.
And then...
And we took the floors with us when we left. We installed floors, and then we took them with us when we left, because, no, there are floors.
The rest of the place around it was awful. Why would we leave beautiful floors?
Right. It was a really pretty shop. It was great.
Then they would have been able to charge another $300 a month for the spot.
I know. Yeah, they would have done so. Yeah.
And then we went to the new spot where that was like a third of the amount we need.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we could still match it up.
Yeah.
New stuff.
Yeah, we were able to buy more of it, which was good. Because we went from like a 400 square foot space to a 2,600 square foot space overnight. And so that 400 square feet of flooring didn't get us very far.
Yeah, we laid down a 400 square feet of flooring the first weekend that we had access to the building. And it was kind of sad. It just did the entryway, really.
Yeah, we need some more. It was wild. But yeah, the thing that's coming to mind since you mentioned farmers markets was my very first farmers market. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
That was because I've been online.
Town we used to live.
Yeah, I'd been online for a while, and I decided that I wanted to start doing local stuff. And so there was a farmers market, and it's like $25 for a booth, and I'm like sold. And so we put together the booth in some kind of way, which is always an obsession, as all soap makers totally know, right? Figuring out how to put things in and make interest with the visually appealing stacks and all that, whatever. Did all of that. He custom made all this random shit for it. It was wild for like the risers and stuff. But the farmer's market was in October. And around here in October it rains and it's real windy. It rains a lot and it's real windy. And so, yeah, and you came and helped me set up, but then you had to go home because like I was pregnant with Soap with Play Kid number 2, or she was just born. I think she was just born. And so you had the kiddos at home. And these winds pick up and I don't have weights on my canopy. And I have all this soap and the rain's coming in sideways and the winds pick up and my canopy is like flying off. And so I spent in an asphalt parking lot. And so
connected to the ground.
Yeah, and so I spent 3 hours like just going for it's a 10 by 10, right? And I'm just stretching my whole body out, just holding the canopy down for 10 hours.
Literally holding down.
Or for 3 hours. Yeah.
Holding down the pole.
And I'm just waiting for Jake to get there. And then he like people would come in and they would just take my phone and run their little payments on their own. It was the weirdest thing ever. Because I couldn't like
what else are you going to do? Well, hold my tit down for me and I'll run your card.
Terrible. That was that was not fun. And I went back the next weekend.
Yeah.
We strapped some things to we went back. It was wild.
We did go armed with weights to hold it down.
Yeah.
The thing about the events in the farmers markets is, like as you said, all these elaborate displays, but they also have to all break down and fit, in the truck or on top of your car or whatever you do and however you're getting there. Fortunately, we had a big truck so we could hold things, but even then, you can't hold things that are big enough to like be a display. They've still got to be assembled and disassembled, and it's difficult to keep things functioning after you've put them together and taken them apart for 8, 9, 10 times.
Yeah, and you got to do it quick. Like you got to do it really, really quick.
Yeah, they never open early enough for you to like leisurely assemble. It's like you've got 30 minutes from the time the gates open to be ready to sell things.
Yeah.
Well, why?
Yeah, it's totally wild. Like Georgia actually helped out with The one that we did at UPS. Because I don't do a lot of events anymore. They have to be literally out my front door or not at all. You know? And
Like on the sidewalk in front of the store.
but we did that one at UPS, and you had to help set that one up. And you ran that one.
So I wasn't there for setup. I helped take it all down.
You helped break it
I
down.
showed up like halfway through. And I knew how to make bath bombs, so that far enough into working for you. And then had never done any kind of event before, and any time that I was working, you were also in the shop and you were handling all the transactions. And so for this one, you like wanted to go check stuff out, check out food, whatever. And so I came over and you were like, just make bath bombs while you're doing the thing so people can watch. And you handed me your phone that had the square reader on it, and you were like, okay, have fun. And I was like, how do you unlock your phone? Like, what's your password?
Right.
And so then you were like, this is $5, this is $6, have fun.
Right.
So I had to figure out how to do that. That was
Yep.
fun.
You did a lot of on-the-job, on-the-fly training with all of that.
It's very dangerous.
So that was a lot for all of it. Mr. Herc said the new mic is harsh, which is why Mr. Soap and Clay is messing around with the mic.
It's because Trav said it needs to get turned down a bit. It's clipping.
Oh, Travis fixed it. Okay, cool. Is it a little bit better, Trav? You should have come, by the way.
I was going to say real time. What's he going to say?
Yeah,
Come manage
right?
the audio.
Yeah, you should have been here to help us with this.
Yeah, I just kicked it down a bit, like a couple of notches.
Good, okay. But yeah, you did a lot of on-the-job, whatever, with all of that, which is why you're here and still here, and a lot of other people just have not made the cut because that's sort of required. There's a lot of moving pieces.
You do have staying power.
You do.
You've been about for quite a while now.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
You've seen them come and go.
It's, which is fun. That's always interesting. But also you can't compare.
Can't compare to what?
To me,
No.
because I've been a while. I've learned things, and I know you well enough that I can kind of go with whatever.
Right.
So
Because it always is.
takes a while to get
Whatever.
to that point, though.
Yeah, it always is whatever. It's completely wild. And there's just so many moving parts. Like, we have had people come in for new potential employees, and I will bring them in intentionally on a day where we have like 6 classes back to back. And there's only 10 minutes time to turn the class table over before the next group comes in. And that's their whole last job for the day, is to clean off the table and make sure it's ready to have the new class come. Most people fail that first day. Like, it's high paced. And so, yeah, it's a lot.
Which the first thing that I ever did, I came in, met you, and my job for that day, I was shrink wrapping bath bombs before we switched to the fabric thing. And I had never used a heat gun to shrink things before, and it was the most exciting day of my life.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about being pregnant.
The most exciting day of my life.
She loves the weirdest shit. And like, I used to be apologetic, like, okay, so you have to do this. And she's like, cool, I like that. All right.
Well, and then
That's your job forever now.
And Ariel was like, you just like slide the bath bomb into the thing, and then you take the heat gun to it. And I was like, what's the heat gun gonna do to it? And then I took it and I, aim and shoot, and I was like, oh my god,
So cool.
what else can I shrink wrap?
Right. What is shrink wrap at all?
Did that too.
Yeah.
I asked what else I could shrink wrap,
Yeah,
and
you did.
spent a lot of time doing that.
Yep, you did. But then at some point, it just gets boring, right? Like, okay, well, now this is no longer
No, I
fun.
did it a couple days ago. Still had a good time.
Did you? All right.
I find it cathartic. It's one of my favourite things about making electrical connections is the shrink wrap over the solder joint.
Oh, okay.
I always burn myself though.
Yeah.
Because I'll do whatever, and then I'll like grab it wrong or touch it wrong, and then I burn myself. But
You're clumsy, though, so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Things are
Dude,
hot.
I cut my arm open yesterday because I like walked past the soap table and just threw my arm into it.
It's great. Yep.
Yeah.
We both have just daily injuries. I'm actually shocked that we don't have live burns all up and down our body just because we are so clumsy.
Yeah.
We're not great sometimes. Yeah.
It's like 15.
But you have different colored socks on today, so you're going to be
I
fine.
do.
Yeah, you're not going to hurt
Yeah.
yourself.
If I wear matching socks, I don't have a good day.
Right.
So I don't match my socks, and when I do, things go wrong. Because the
Yeah.
other day I was in the shop and I was wearing matching socks, and I made a point to let her know. Usually when I wear matching socks, things aren't good. And it was like every 5 minutes we both kind of trip over something or knock into something and then go, "Don't die."
Yeah.
So if you notice that occurring, can you just take one sock off and then everything goes back normal? Then you're not wearing matching socks.
But then your
I
feet
don't
feel
know, kind
weird.
of. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
It's a little weird.
I don't say it's not weird. Maybe you not get injured.
Sometimes I'll match them in a way that's not matching. So like if I'm wearing blue and white, one sock will be blue and the other one will be white, so it sort of matches. In this case, my socks have pumpkin spice lattes and hula hooping cat.
Love it.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
good time.
Pumpkin spice latte. Gonna start that early, huh? It's July.
Yes.
It's July.
Those socks should be in storage.
We're not ready to be basic bitches yet.
It's Halloween.
Yeah.
It's Halloween
Yeah.
already.
Chloe's on.
I love her.
Yeah.
Hi.
So, how about you? What's your first horror story?
Oh, you tried story from Georgia.
What?
We'll get to that. You go ahead.
You tried? Who said that?
Chris.
That's funny. You
No,
tried.
that's not funny. That was that entire
I love that story.
she tried thing was completely out of context.
Yeah.
I did not have the time to properly defend
We were on
myself
a break.
and explain exactly what happened because it wasn't like, oh, she tried being all whatever about it.
Rin
I
threw your
showed-
ass under the bus for that.
I
I'm just
know.
saying, she threw your ass under the bus.
It wasn't even like that though.
Right.
So you had made them and then she asked like what they were and I was like, oh, this is the Pisces bar or whatever it ended up being. And then she said, does it normally look like that? And so then I grabbed the ones that I made before and I was like, normally they look like this. And she was like, then why is it so different? And then I explained why it was different or whatever. And she's like, well, it hardly looks like yours. And I was like, she tried, like, like whatever. You didn't, it's not exactly right. I was like,
And then she
and
reported
then
to me.
you came in.
Right.
And then she's like, guess what Georgia just said? Whatever, talking about how they were different. She said, oh, you tried. And then I was on bath bomb duty for
You were on bath bomb duty
the rest
for a
of
while.
the year.
It's still not exactly out of context, though.
That was
It wasn't in such a terrible way, though.
Right.
I didn't even like, oh, she tried. Like, there's no way you can whatever.
But it was actually funny because this was right at the time where you had just started making soaps.
Yeah.
And then I'm like,
proud.
back to bath bombs.
So proud.
Go over there.
You and your big head.
You and your big head.
What a
So that's not
mess.
the horror story, though. What's your horror story?
No. I mean, the one that I always kind of go back to is it was a group of girls. I don't know if they were like cheerleaders or soccer players or whatever. They were very much a team. And our max at the shop for classes is 20. We can usually comfortably fit 20, so that's kind of our max. And I think it was like day of or night before. She's like, I know you said your max is 20, but we have 25 confirmed. And so we're like, okay, we'll just find a way to make it work. And I had taught classes before, but I wasn't entirely, I guess, super familiar with teaching classes. But it was fine. So we ended up having to split them into two groups. So I think we ended up having like 22 people at the start of the class. And so you were going to take 12 and I was going to take 10. And the spaces that we were at could hold 10 and 12. And so we told them to separate into 12 and 10.
I remember this now. Holy crap, yeah.
And
There's just been so many.
and so to split them into 10 and 12. So originally it started out fine. You had 12, I had 10 because you can handle 12 and I can barely handle 10, but that's fine. And that was also as much as the space could hold. And then you started teaching it and there were two moms that were driving me nuts before we could officially start, where she would take like her daughter and was like, here, go be with your friend on this side. No, come over here. Here, let's put you two over here and you two over here. So we ended up, you had 10 and I had 12. And I told her, I was like, two of you need to go over there. I can only have 10 in this spot. 2 need to move. And all of the little girls are like looking at each other like, well, I'm not going to move. Right. Who's going to move? Or they're looking at their mom like, are you going to make me move? And so I'm like, you know, 2 of you need to go over there. I don't have the space up here. And there was a mom who snapped at me and she was like, well, there's 12 here and they're all standing next to each other perfectly fine, but they're all squished. And I told her, I was like, well, in order to, you know, do this and make bath bombs, you need some arm space. There's not enough room here. I can only have 10. And she's like, well, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah. And then I ended up coming over and like having chats with that mom. Like we had it out. That was very interesting.
Right. And so then
you don't get to talk to my employees like that is the whole last thing. Like that's the point. Like 100%, if a soap apprentice says that it is what it is, I will back them. And they already knew the rules.
Yeah. So then start of the class, it ended up being you had 12, I had 10. Started off the class and then everybody starts making. So during that, everybody has a little box. And as you make them, we put them into the boxes to keep them safe. So I had boxes for all of my people. You had boxes for all of your people. And so everybody starts making bath bombs. And all of a sudden I have, I have like 14 people and you have like none.
Right.
You had like 5 or 6 kids around this giant table.
Right.
And I have all these people. And so I have girls who are like handing me bath bombs.
Like,
no
boxes.
And I don't have boxes. And so I'm like, you need to go back over there. And then I noticed that there was a mom who was taking girls and their buckets and moving them over to me. And so I kept telling them they had to go back to the other side. There's not enough space. I don't have your boxes. I can't put them away. Go over there. I can't do this. Yeah. And I'm overwhelmed because I don't do big things like this.
Right.
And so a bunch of them went back and it was so much back and forth. And so then you were helping one of the younger girls who was real little compared to everybody else. Cause she was having a hard time. And there was another girl at that table. And she had made like 2 or 3. So she was on the way to being done good enough. You can handle yourself. And the mom comes over with a bucket and her kid and sets it over by me and is like, her powder's too dry. Like it's not working. We need a new bucket. So I went over and I like stuck my hand in and I was like, no, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. Like it's a powder. So
it's bath bomb powder.
Bath bomb powder. It's you know, whatever. And so she's like, it's not working. We need a new one. It's broken. And I was like, okay, like, let me see your mold to see if it was, you know, a top and a bottom to make sure whatever. And so I was like, all right, like show me how you were doing it just in case you could catch, you know, scooping instead of piling or whatever. And so she does the thing, does the knocking, takes it out. It's perfectly fine. And I'm like, great, you're perfect. Go ahead and, you know, head on back to the table.
Right.
And the mom's just like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm like, maybe she just can't make them while you're hovering.
Right. Maybe just let your kid do your thing.
I can't function when people are hovering over me.
Maybe go next door and get
it doesn't work. And it was so terrible and exhausting. And, you know, we made it. It was fine. Everybody had 5. Everybody went home happy and it was great. But 20, not 25. 20.
Yeah, like seriously, it was nuts. Well, we have way too many classes that are like that, and this is something that like little business whatever thing for people who are doing the thing. Set your boundaries early and don't feel like you need to please everyone because you're never going to do it. And so we have become a little bit more strict with those sorts of things over the years because I got to that place where I just don't care anymore. Like, I used to be super duper accommodating with all this stuff, but it's like we have rules set in place to make sure the experience is great for everyone and they all get the attention that they need and all the jazz. And so before, like we would do this. Like, well, can we sweep? It's not great, but sure.
But sure, we can do 12 and 10
and
just
now
need a little wiggle room.
Yeah, and now it's a hard line. Like, no, we cannot do this, and it is what it is. And so, yeah, but those classes were terrible. You weren't there for the Annie Wright class.
No, I wasn't. You told me about it.
Yeah.
That
one was terrible.
That whole story that made me not feel good.
Yeah, those girls were not fun. Those parents were not fun. Nothing about that was fun. That was just. These kids took like their earrings out of their ears. And because I used to be really cool in the early days of all of this, and I would provide like beverages and things for all of the classes, right? And they took their earring and they poked holes in all of the water bottles that I had laid out for the class. They stopped up my toilet with a bunch of paper towels. These kids were like 12, by the way. There's no excuse for it at that age. And it was wild. And that was another thing where there was like way too many kids for the class and they just didn't care. Like they knew what the limit was and they just brought a whole bunch more people. Like it was crazy.
I had a kid one time, it was during like a smaller class that I had. There was maybe like 6 or 7 kids in mine. And so we do the class, everything's fine, it's all cleaned up, it's whatever. And so I'm in the back doing something, and somebody had come in and was like, hey, do you have a restroom? Sure, whatever. And so they went in for like 2 seconds and came out and they were like, there's like blood all over the bathroom, because there was a kid who had a bloody nose and was like in the bathroom bleeding all over the place and didn't bother to be like, hey, you got some towels?
Right.
Sorry, I had blood all over everything, but it was like on the sink, like it looked like somebody was cleaning up a real bad wound.
Right.
And it was really scary, and there was just blood everywhere, and I was like, are you serious?
Yeah. It's wild.
Let me know.
Yeah. Emirates, you're exactly right. Boundaries. That's the biggest thing. Whenever you're doing any business, it doesn't matter that it's, customer. You have to set everywhere and everything in life. You have to set your boundaries and be reasonably strict with them, because that's for your own self-care. It's for your own health. At the end of those days, we didn't feel good. And so if we don't feel good, literally what the shit was the point? Because that's a stupid place to be if you're going to be in this job that just sucks because you let people walk all over you. So it's that.
And then,
as a retailer, you're also struggling with accommodating your customers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's been several times you've told me about things like this. Like, why don't you just tell them all to fuck off?
Yeah, just tell them no.
I can do that at work. You can't. And that's something that, it's a reason that I can't do the things that you do. I would struggle with that, and I would not come out on top.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're in two completely different, types of careers, though, because I run a small business and you work for the most corporate of corporate. So,
True.
But also you're very, very high up in your field, so you can just tell people, no, it's this way, and there's no possible way to get around it. The building has to be built like this, period, end of.
Sometimes it has to be said.
Right.
But yeah, I think you run into more disrespect and entitlement than I do most of the time.
Yeah, I do. Recently. Yeah, Peggy, this is the Soap Apprentice. Hello, she's here. She's here.
we what was it? There's the entitlement drives me absolutely nuts. So we have people who will come in and ask for something that we, don't have or don't carry anymore. They'll ask for it, and then I'll let them know that they're out of stock or we'll be making them next week. And then they'll name drop, oh, I know the owner. She usually has some, behind the counter for me.
Still don't have any.
Still don't have any. If we don't have any, we don't have any. Or the, we're all out of stock. There's none out on the floor. Well, do you have any in the back? If I had any in the back, they'd all be in the front.
Right.
So,
or in the back, not cured yet. That's
we're right. And right. That's another thing, is everything that's behind the soap counter, very, very obviously not for sale, because they're all back there. People all the time. Well, can I get one of those?
No,
that one?
You can't.
I didn't see that one out there. No, you didn't, because
they're not ready.
They're not out.
Well, in one of the orientations, I think when that Cure Rack first went in, people would just go grab stuff off the Cure Rack, right?
Well, they did that for years.
Yeah.
That is the first setup where they actively understand that you can't go back there.
They understand that you can't go back there, but they'll point at something and go, can I get one of those?
Right.
So see,
right over there.
Right. That one's wrapped.
Or, what are all the ones that are on the back? They're all the ones that are out there.
Right.
They're all there. You just got to go find them.
Right. And you can't have these ones right now. They're not ready.
No. Yeah, they don't have a label on them. Speaking of labels, another thing that is pet peeve-ish and that I can't stand is people taking... So in the shop, we have display bars in the front. And then there's a row of them behind that are labeled ready to go. So you can pick up the display one and smell them and put it back. So two things. When they don't put it back, or they put it upside down or backwards or flipped around or somewhere else entirely. Or they'll take the display one and not one that has a label, which a lot of the times will be like, here, let me go grab you one that has a label on it. And then just switch them. Mm-hmm. Or another one where people will actually take the one that has the label and take the label off. Set it down and then go check out.
Right. Well, a lot of people like naked soaps, and that's the thing. They're trying to be conscious with all of that, and so that's fine.
Which is fine, or take it with you.
Yeah.
Just take it off when you get home.
Yeah.
Because then there's labels everywhere, and it happened 3 or 4 times this past week where I found just a random label that I just...
Where did this come from? And so we have the option for naked soaps on the website and everything too, because we can sell soap. That's actually a video that's coming up soon, is labeling. So, because that's a whole ass thing in and of itself. It's going to be a long one. But like, I get that they want the naked soaps, but 75% of the time that's not what they're doing. They're just picking up the sample bar.
Right.
And so I'm like, I don't want to sell you this. We even cleaned this one today. So let me get you one that nobody's touched. You know?
Keep it easy.
But yeah, it's all a thing. Classes are fun. They're a lot. Soap classes usually go pretty well though.
Yeah.
Lotion classes are always a shit show.
Yeah.
100% of the time they're a shit show. That's wild. I don't get why.
I don't know what it is either, because when you have the recipes all printed out for everybody for a lotion class, it's set up in parts because you have to do the with the stick in between. And
you might have to explain that one.
And the immersion blender, the thing that.
They don't know. They're all soapers. They get this.
It's all set up into parts, and people will just completely ignore all of the steps and just add everything all together at once.
Yeah.
There was one class where, which this was like the second part of lotion making. We were only on the first part, and she, instead of putting in 0.2 ounces of a preservative, 2.0, 2 ounces.
Yeah.
2 ounces in, and then I let you know. It was like, I sent you a text from across the room, like, I think that might have been a lot, and we're also not at that step yet, so I don't know how that was possible. And so you had asked her, like, you know, how much did you put in? Did you put some in? She's like, no, I didn't. Didn't.
I remember that. Yep, literally watched you do it. Well, that like super sucked on that particular day because it was one of those, like, during the holiday seasons we have like 6 options of things so they can build gift sets and shit.
Yep.
And we only had like enough preservative to get through this last class. That was it. And then so she puts 2 ounces into this lotion, and I'm like, the rest of you are doing solid lotion bars because we're all done now.
Yep.
Like,
Can't do it.
that was why. This is also one of the reasons why I decided to sort of structure the channel the way that I did, with all of the mishaps and testing weird stuff, because things that I wouldn't have even thought to do in the formulation of a product has happened in classes. And like, well, what happens when you put 2 ounces of preservative into your lotion when you needed 0.2 ounces?
You cry a little bit.
You try a little bit and your lotion's ruined. It never comes to a stable solution. But I know that because I took her bucket and I just set it aside for like 3 months and played with it. Like, let's do it. Reheated it, tried to remix it.
Gross.
See if it would like mold or do weird things. Like, we play like that.
And it didn't do anything weird, which I think is what kind of freaked me out the most.
Yeah, right.
Like, I really wanted it to do something weird.
Right. It just never also set up into an actual lotion, so that sucked because too much preservative.
Yeah.
That doesn't bind. So there's that.
So to that, someone screwing things up in a class, has there ever been like an aha moment where they've done something strange and you're like, oh, well, look, that actually worked.
Yeah, totally.
Incorporate that.
Absolutely. Amberly, that's actually a good idea, cutting the samples in half. We should just start putting out like the end pieces, because, you know, when we cut the soaps, we have the end piece that's too small to sell. Should start doing that.
But they're not always
freaks me out.
But they're also not always very
They're not as pretty, and also it's smaller than the one that they're actually going to get. And so I'm like, well, maybe I need a full. But then we have this sample only, you know, sample size only, or
You
something.
could stamp them with that.
And it's still going to confuse people. Like, I went into Ulta the other day to get makeup or whatever for the kids, and for some reason, I ended up picking up the sample, the display for every single product.
And then took it all up to the counter.
I did.
Not good.
Like, sometimes you're just an idiot. Like, you don't get it. I haven't been in stores, okay? I don't know how to people anymore. This is very weird to me.
Okay, yeah, that's
I was in a makeup store and I felt really weird. Like,
I feel really weird seeing people from the eyes down, like seeing their whole face.
yeah. I don't like that.
I have to remember to like change my face.
Yeah.
When people are around.
Yeah, you take
them not wearing a mask anymore.
That's the thing. Like, you can't go.
Yeah, like 4 months
Right.
ago, they couldn't tell that you were scowling.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
Totally
nothing. Kylie, actually, that's a good idea. I broke a mold at the shop, and so it gave me an opportunity to. I haven't told him, but I'm telling him right now. Have Mr. Soap and Clay make us some new molds, and so I thought we could do a video, and he can actually give all the dimensions for the mold and how to cut it and whatever. So basically, it's him, but then also do a liner mold within that same video. Like, this is also how you line the wooden molds that I love so dear.
I could also experiment with the other lining things I've been wanting to try.
No, we've already done enough of the experiments.
No, this is that formal.
We've done weird experiments to line like wooden molds. Like, we did one with a silicone caulk that we smoothed around the whole mold, so then it had like quick release that you could just. Yeah,
It was an amazing concept.
it was an amazing concept.
It didn't work.
It didn't work.
Not so
We took those flexible silicone mats, right, and lined the mold on all sides, and like glued it on. It worked. That mold still exists, but the problem with that mold is, in order to take it apart, you have to unscrew all the things. So if they had quick releases, it could be good.
Well, it was a prototype.
But
there are lots of prototypes around.
then I just use them.
I threw a few of them away recently, like in the last couple of weeks, because I ran across them. But the thing is that I make a prototype that she's supposed to like use for a week and say, yeah, it works. No, it doesn't. And she just keeps it in service for 4 years.
It totally
And so
works.
I never get it back to like remeasure it and make it better
But
because
it
it was
works.
a prototype.
No, but it's good. Keep rolling with it. I don't need a new one.
So it may be, you got to take all the screws out instead of having some quick latches, and that's just how it's going to be for 4 years because you'll never bring it home.
No.
Or there's one mold that has a completely different kind of screw.
Yeah, but that's on you. That's your fault. You gave us the weird screws. I want Phillips head on everything. And then randomly, you're like,
Phillips
okay,
head
I have these new
terrible.
star screws. And so I'm going to fix this mold with these new star screws. And I'm like, what? We can't. Like.
But the only molds that have Phillips head because I had run out of Torx drive screws. Like,
No, the
are
Phillips
terrible.
head were from years and years ago. That's how old these molds are.
Yeah, they're drywall screws.
And then you decided to like mess up our. We don't have a screw thing for that thing.
Don't use Phillips head screws for anything.
I use it for everything. Poor Phillip. I like Phillip. He needs more love.
And don't use square drive because you always lose your square drive bit. That's happened like 8 times working on soap shop things because we're taking other people's stuff apart or whatever, and it's always a square drive. Where does this come from?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Start talking about screws, and I'm very, very like.
It's just like walking down the aisle.
Did you walk me, Blaze? Yeah, just like when we're in Home
It's just-
Depot, and you
it's
make
just
me go through
completely
the
just
screw aisle, and I'm
shut
like, this is not okay.
All right,
I don't do it well.
We're not going to get into the technical details of screwing things.
Probably better. Like, you can do that for the video, though. That's great.
So
Maybe not screws. You don't need to talk about screws. I don't think that's necessary. Screws are screws.
Yeah, you don't have to talk about it. I'll just tell them the one to use,
Sure. And then they'll use that thing.
which is a number 8 Torx strap,
I like it. That works.
not Phillips.
Hi, Soap Chef. We're always working, right? It's weird that we're not working. We took this off all intentionally today. No, doing this on Saturday is so weird, but the reason why we're doing it today is because we have birthday party bath bomb classes all day tomorrow, so we've got to be there on Sunday. It's all things.
Should be fun.
It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. So, horror story that
So sincere.
yeah,
Can't wait.
Very excited.
it's always a good time.
So fun.
These ones should be good though. I don't know. It's just weird getting back into the groove of classes again, I guess, because we just really weren't doing many of them during COVID because we couldn't. And so now it's just weird and I feel weird. I'm like, why are you in my space? Why are you so close to me? Is it normal? I don't know how to people anymore.
Well,
we had
and
too much time of like, you sit there.
And
What's that?
the space in between like the bath bomb class table, that little space, it feels way smaller than it used to.
Right? It's wild.
It doesn't work.
Right. I know because we're used to having extra space around us.
Yeah.
And now we don't, we're going back. Actually, it's smaller than that. It's smaller.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, yeah, it's narrower than that.
Yeah. It's totally wild.
Yeah.
I work in tool rental. When I need a bit, I just go to grab it off the floor. Love that. There you go. That
That's
works.
excellent.
Yeah. That's
Like
smart.
that.
But the thing with Mr. Soap and Clay is his bits are never in the right.
Try again.
No, let's finish that one.
We can't find all of the little attachments that go to the screw gun at any given time. Like, because he takes them to different places, is what I meant. Cool. Yesterday's video was all about deep penetration, and now I'm talking about bits. This is a good time. This is an NSFW at this point.
You do need deep penetration of your screws.
You do. Cool. Soap Shop Horror Stories. Speaking of building. I think for you would have to be one of the many times that I've made you rearrange the shop. But this last time might have been the worst time.
For rearranging,
Yeah.
yeah. So rearranging is sort of always a little irritating because we've basically just gotten it dialed in and always built one or two new things for the layout that we've got. And then, you're 3 months in. It's basically once a quarter we have to change things up. I want to put everything that's here over there, and I want to not use that anymore, and I want to replace it with 6 new things. All right.
I basically, I'll just wake up on a Tuesday and hate everything. And then we start moving stuff around. And this last time, you actually did tell me you're all done. You're not moving it again. Because I made him, there was this custom bar that was built when we first moved into the space. And it was built on site and screwed into the floor. And I'm like, I want to take this bar and move it all the way across the shop and move all the things that are over there all the way over here. And the thing about Mr. Soap and Clay is, with me, his attitude is very much the Princess Bride thing, the as you wish or whatever. Like, he will do anything for me, and he doesn't ever tell me this is a bad idea. And so I don't know that it's a bad idea or how hard it's going to be until I see him struggling with it, and then I feel bad.
Well, it's not a bad idea. It's just incredibly tedious and time.
But he never tells me these things.
So
he
this
just does it.
bar was anchored. The building is a slab on grade, and this thing was anchored into the concrete with 1/4-inch concrete anchors, like every 8-10 inches something. And it's, how big is that bar? 16, 18 feet.
18 feet. Yeah.
It's a big bar, and then it returns back another 6 feet, and then it's got all of this elaborate mill work and elaborate painting work on the outside. But it was built on site, so the framing was anchored to shit down into the slab, and then everything was built around it. So there's no access to the anchors.
Right.
So to move it, you've either got to demolish the bar to get at the anchors, or you've got to cut them from underneath. But they're sucked down with 350 foot-pounds of torque into a slab, so nothing will get under it.
Yeah.
It was
That happened.
miserable.
But we did it.
We salvaged the whole thing.
Yeah, we didn't break a single piece of it. That was
How many days
amazing.
did that take to cut all those anchors through?
Oh, like
Was that 2 to 3?
Yeah,
I think it was
3
2 or
days.
3. But you decided that you wanted to move the bar, but then you guys were moving the cure rack behind the bar before moving the bar, and then it got stuck.
Yeah.
and so we ended up having to like bend it
Yeah.
without fully causing any real damage
Right.
in order to get it around the bar that was already going to be moved. And
Yeah.
you probably could have just moved that and then moved
And
the
Yeah,
cure
look at all
rack.
those things.
But
It's like 12 or 16 feet long.
it's
too,
real
right?
long.
It's huge. Yeah. Curex giant. You built that too.
I did.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a lot. We do the Alchemist Oasis, and then he had the penetration. I appreciate the super chat, just so you could say that. It made me blush a little more on camera. Thank you very much. I am. Look at me. Wow. I'm doing the thing. Cool.
That's epic.
Cool,
well
cool,
done,
cool.
Alchemist.
That's awesome. Thanks. This is inappropriate.
It's not wrong.
It's inappropriate. But yeah, the moving of the things is always a weird time for you in the soap shop, because I'm always doing that.
And somehow...
And Georgia gets into it, actually, because I'm like, we're going to move things around. And she starts drawing things out.
Oh, I know.
It's going to go here and
She's
here, and then
playing
I
for
take
lots of
it
new
home
fixtures.
to you, and I'm like, let's do this.
But what it is, like you draw it out, and then somehow you create a new open space. You've got, 20 square feet of something open.
Yeah.
That didn't exist in the previous. And then something has to be built to display things in that new 20 square foot spot.
Nope.
And then you always come up with a new open space in the
Yeah.
floor that something new needs to be built to occupy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand
It's all a thing.
how
we
you
have a
keep,
big
keep
space.
freeing up floor space, but something needs to be built to put in there.
Right.
It's a big space.
Well, yeah, because we
Do
had
something
for
with it.
the longest time that giant table that you brought home, or that you made, that we brought home last summer, just an empty space in the middle of the shop. And then Christmas happened, and I'm like, well, we need a place to put all the stuff. So
We need a
put it back.
table.
And now we just use that 100% of the time for all of the staging on the things. It's just,
But even now, with all the giant soap series and all of the new
Yeah,
themes,
there's still no
there's
room.
no space on the table anymore.
there's still not room. 2,600 square feet of freaking shop, and we can't find room for all of the series that we've been doing. It was tough getting Magicians and Marble out. And like Labyrinth was okay because we only have like 2 of those bars left, so it's
Yep.
like fine, it's just right there.
Yep.
But we still have Magicians and Marble going right now, And like it was not
It
fun.
takes up the entire table.
Yeah, it's
There's
the whole
no
table. And that's a big table. It was wild. That's another thing when you do like, for business stuff, when you're trying to figure out how much inventory you need. I personally have decided over the many, many years of doing this, that the more fun way to do this is to do whatever in the shit that you want to make, like for a day, and just make it a limited edition thing. Like, don't think that you have to keep it in your inventory all of the time. As it stands, I only have like 8 soaps that are staples in my line. 8 soaps, 4 bombs. And they always, always have to be there because people will cut me if I get rid of them. But for everything else, it's just a rotating inventory. Just based on, well, we want to play with this smell today or this design or whatever. And don't feel like you have to stock 75 soaps starting out because you don't. You don't. And then you have to keep up with all that inventory and that sucks.
And it may turn out you never have to stock 75 different soaps.
Right. I mean, there were some when I first started because I think I did launch the website with 75 products. There were multiple soaps and bath bombs that literally never got made again because they just weren't popular. And so it was not necessary for me to break my back trying to do all of these different designs or whatever to have 75 things on a website when I would have been just fine with 12.
Yeah, I like the way you evolved into, just limited edition. We'll do this once and put it on the website and be done.
Yeah, that table is really awesome, Chris. I love that you did find the tiger stripe soap on that one for sure. And Emirates, actually, that's an interesting comment, the whole visualization, because the Apprentice did that for me for our house.
I did.
Yeah, that was cool.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I still have it. So I was obsessing over the paint color to go in the house because we're doing a chair rail and it's white on the bottom with like wainscot, whatever. And I'm like, well, what color? And what if I? And so she built this thing of the wall. She even drew in the chair rail and the wainscoting and stuff. And it was this little that you could slide the paint chips into so you could visualize it. It was amazing. It was so good. Yeah, that was amazing. So she's the one who does the cool building. She actually knows how to build too. She does set design and stuff, so that's cool.
Did.
Well, you could do so again.
I could.
Yeah.
I could.
You have
I've got
that
so many
skill set.
cool tools that you could come over here and use.
Love tools.
You want to come use a nail gun? I've got a heat gun if you want to.
Power tools make me so happy.
You get to come help out with the remodel.
Yeah. No, seriously, I absolutely would.
Yeah.
Absolutely would.
You
I
have
love
to.
power tools.
Yeah.
I'll give you some
Heat
solder and a
guns,
torch.
shrink wrapping,
Power tools?
power tools.
Sure.
Yeah.
See, they scare me. Power tools freak me out.
I like them. I think they're fun.
But you build cool stuff. I've watched it in action in place. Like, look at that. They're moving that. People were just standing on that and now they're moving. It's not breaking.
That was such a pain.
But you figured it out.
Figured it out.
You did the thing.
Yeah, making things that
We had
a
people
couple of
there.
people can move and that can also hold a couple of people, that's challenging.
Yeah. We had some people underneath there that were in charge of pushing it out and pulling it back in.
Is that right?
Yeah, but
Just hanging out the
they had
whole
to do it. They had to keep it, completely straight because we didn't have time to actually put it on tracks that we ordered.
Yeah.
So they had to pull it back totally straight because if it was at an angle, it wouldn't go in.
Yeah. Oh, God, that'd be
That's
terrifying. Yeah. It's a fun
It was a
time.
lot.
Yeah.
It was a set for Romeo and Juliet.
That's
That's what we're talking about.
It was a really good Romeo and Juliet, too. I was blown away. One of my degrees is in literature, and I specialized in Elizabethan literature, and Shakespeare was my jam. Love Shakespeare. And I went to go watch this thing to support the Apprentice, right? Thinking, great. It's Romeo and Juliet. This is crap.
High school show.
I don't want to do this. But I did, and I'm weeping. I'm crying through the whole thing. They did such a great job. You went to a good school. I like that school, for sure. Yep.
Yeah.
They did a really great job with all of that. Chris, I don't know how to find another Georgia. She's tough to come by, for sure. And she's mine. You can't have one. Nope.
And she can't recommend anyone because she knows that she's superior.
That's right.
I don't.
It's just what she said earlier. She was like, but you can't use me as the comparison for other people because I'm me.
Not in that kind of way, though.
You are you. You're great.
This whole live session is just a big Apprentice ego stroke.
Well, I mean, because,
just own
it's
it.
exciting.
Just
This is like the
accept
whole point of the thing. The Apprentice gets to come on and whatever. People are excited to see
they've been
her,
admiring
so.
your work and wanting to put a face to it. Now just
Now
absorb
just see
it
your
all.
hands and
Just
now
bask in the
see whole
glory.
thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Cloner.
Yeah.
It's not legal, mate. We're not allowed to clone things.
Yeah, we can't. We can't clone.
That'd be a
So sad.
disaster. That's not good. Well, Travis told me earlier, he was like, just be yourself. I'm like, that's what I'm afraid of. No thanks.
I'm myself.
Yeah, but you're great.
No,
So it's
I'm
fine.
not. I'm a lot. I'm a lot. But luckily, people, I guess, are okay with that. You guys are okay with that. So that's all that really matters. I
Yeah.
have my, yeah, because I'm a lot. But yeah, no, if we're going back to soap shop horror stories and talking about construction and other things. My next one is going to be the day that, okay, so you guys, if you've seen my master batch videos, I've done the master batching thing, and this is what I do for all of my oils. And so I have, because I have drums of oils and big drums. I buy everything in drums these days. I'm going to say drums one more time.
Good
And
measure.
drums.
55-gallon drums.
Drums.
Big
Very
drums.
heavy, and so they're hard to, and so I master batch, like we have between 3 and 7 different master batches going at any given time, and I master batch them in like a 50-pound bucket, right? And then pour off to whatever. One day I just master batched a whole bunch of oils, and I went to move it or shake it or something. Full, completely full. Do you remember this day?
I don't think that I was there.
Ariel was there then. Like that was, yeah. And I went to shake it, and I didn't put the lid all the way on, and the whole thing, and I lost control of it, and 50 pounds worth of oil all over the shop. And so I,
At least the floor's shiny.
floor is super shiny, super slippery, and I lost some money on that day. And I just sat down in the oil and cried for a little bit. Like, shit, that's a lot of batches of soap. That's like 30 dozen batches or something. That was a lot. I was sad.
I feel like to this day you can still find that spot on the floor when you walk in.
Well, I don't know. Well, it's covered by a rug now. But yeah, if it weren't, yeah, probably.
There's something weird.
It's going to be something different there. A little bit squishy.
The oil in those floors, it just will not completely come up.
That was, yeah. Well, those floors have been surprisingly great. Like they
Oh,
sold
they're
me on
ridiculous.
like snap-in flooring or whatever.
Yeah.
Just because of the high amount of traffic and how much we abuse the floors, it's actually pretty shocking.
There's one spot where when you step on it, it like moves.
Mm.
And I noticed actually like a couple weeks ago when I went to step on it, it made a new sound.
Oh yeah.
So it moved a little. It moved a little bit more.
That was actually, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That was actually a low spot on the slab.
And
I was wondering about that. I was like, I feel like this floor is just not.
Yeah, so under that piece, it was so low, it was this big dip. There's another just full piece of that
Two.
flooring.
Yeah.
We stacked up. We put in the divot
Oh my
and then ran the
God.
floor over the top of it.
Yeah, so like
It makes a new
literally
sound.
there are 2 of these underneath
Yeah,
that spot to try to level it out.
like full, that whole span,
Yeah.
because of how much the slab did.
Yeah. It sounds like it like popped out
It may have.
wherever it was locked
Yeah,
in.
it
So
may be those
I don't
two
know.
like shifting on each other underneath.
Yeah, it's weird, but you know that floor has really we've put it through the motions. and
Yeah,
it's
it
been
wasn't
great.
even commercial rated.
Yeah, it was something like 89 cents a square. Or
It was
something.
a
It was so
residential
cheap.
rating.
Yeah,
And it's gone through 4 or 5 years of
Yeah.
commercial use.
yeah,
pretty good.
Yeah.
it's been pretty
It's
epic.
been incredibly abused, and
Yeah.
it's still not cracked the top, right? Like there's still no surface damage.
Just in the places where we spilled lye on the floor, so that will eat it
That
out.
makes sense.
But yeah, it's just those are just a couple places
Whatever.
And
where
the
the lye
holes,
gets
the
kept.
holes we put in it for the dressing rooms,
Right,
or for
right.
running down.
Back when that was the
places.
thing. Yeah,
I spent forever too.
yeah.
I built that as well.
You did. You built so many things in that shop. It's wild. How about you, Georgia? Any other soap shop horror stories that you want to?
I don't know. I think that covers classes. I mean, there's a lot of disasters, but not too bad. Just disaster-ish.
Does it cover classes, Georgia?
Does it?
Does it?
Does it cover? Oh, I had a class one time. It was 6 kids, and they were old enough to know not to do things when you tell them not to do things.
Sure.
And they were all really excited, and I had them all roll their sleeves up. They're real excited, and one kid asked, and this was the kid with the red bucket. Kid got a red bucket.
Yeah.
Red buckets are for the troublemakers.
The problem children.
The problem children.
And we actually call it out during class in a fun way, of course.
Right.
But as we're sort of, bouncing off of the audience and doing the whatevers in the classes, if we sense that a kid's going to be a red bucket kind of kid, we can pull one out from underneath and it's like,
Red
so
bucket.
we can pay attention to this one. This one's important.
Asked if she could put her hands in it, and I said no, not yet, because I'm gonna pass around some bottles. You can smell some things and decide what you want instead of getting dusty hands on everything. I was like, hold off. We're just gonna smell some things.
Right.
And all the other kids are like, okay, cool. And she's like, okay. Sticks her hands in and is like, it feels like snow. And I'm like, all right, well, there goes that. And then she took it in her hands, threw it up in the air, and stuck her face into it.
Great.
Got in her eyes.
Right.
And so it burns. And the mom is just like, she said not to put your hands in it. And then took her to the bathroom, wash her eyes out, whatever. And all the other kids, perfectly clean hands, and they're smelling bottles and having a good time. And so kid comes back and he's like, my eyes really hurt. And I'm like,
well, maybe next time you don't do that.
That was the same kid came in for pottery painting, which still counts as a shop horror story. Usually towards the end of people painting, they'll stack their palettes and, condense things like you would at a restaurant, stack your plates, kind of make it easier. Usually people will do that. And so when they come up and check out and do all that, they ask if, where they can put their dishes, whatever. And I always tell them that they can totally leave it because I'll take care of it, put it in the sink. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Because usually people are pretty good about stacking and doing good things. And there's towels and water and everything. So accidents happen, whatever. They're easy.
Right.
And so it was 3 kids and 2 adults. 3 kids were painting, adults were not. And they checked out, and the adults are like, do you need us to put anything like in a sink or wherever? What can work? How can we help? And I'm like, don't worry about it. It's totally fine. Like, I'll take care of it. And they're like, oh, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, you're fine. So they end up leaving. And then I walk over to the table, and I sent you a picture of this.
Yeah.
Because there were pallets everywhere, and it was like they took their water and had dumped it on their pallets, and so it was all over the table. And it looked like at one point they took a bottle of paint and squeezed it onto the table and were playing with it with their fingers.
Oh. And
it was an absolute disaster, and it was all over the chairs, and it was just absolutely horrific. It was not fun. And I sent you a picture, and I was like, how?
Right.
How?
I know, and the whole thing is just so, I don't know. I guess people just, we're not going to start talking shit about parents or whatever, but Jesus Christ, my kids would never. And I would clean it up if they did, is the thing. Because I don't want to be that person that gets that, then I have to look your ass dead in your eye a week later to pick up my stuff.
Uh-huh. I still haven't picked them up. That was 2 months ago.
Yeah, it's wild. Hey, Chris, I don't appreciate that. You just jinxed us. You just jinxed us with these no video problems today. Now the camera's going to turn off and everything's going to go sideways.
No, because my socks aren't matching.
Okay, so we're good.
We're good.
I love it. Yeah.
So far, I think we're okay.
So, the one thing you wish you knew before you started.
I think you both should answer that question.
What's the one thing you wish you knew before you started working for the soap shop?
I don't know. Come back to me on that. You go.
Yeah. I honestly think, going back to what I was saying earlier, the one thing that I wish I knew or was comfortable doing when I started was setting your boundaries and making sure that you don't go out of your way to try to please everyone. Because the fact of the matter is there's 7 billion people on the planet. You're not going to make everyone happy. So do what feels right for you, and don't try to cater to every trend, cater to every area, don't try to do it. When I first started out, I'm like, well, I should have 2 goat's milks and 2 this and 2 that and 2 animal soaps. But then I'm like, but I don't actually personally like making animal soaps, not because I'm a vegan or whatever, but because I don't like making them. And so why would I make something that I'm not going to use or enjoy making? And so setting your boundaries and knowing what you are for new people in the soap world, I think the biggest thing is figuring out what your audience is and doing that, what you want your audience to be and doing that, and making sure that audience actually fits the things that you're interested in. Because I have seen so many people, I mean, that still happens. Soapers will walk into my shop and not even talk to us. Like, they're super freaking rude. They won't say hi. And they'll just be like, whisper, taking pictures of my shit. And then we'll see it on their, like, socials, like, a couple weeks later. Look at this new thing I did. But it'll be like Game of Soaps, right? And then people will try to engage with them in like, oh, this episode is whatever. And then they're like, oh, yeah, I mean, I don't actually watch Game of Thrones. Why would you make a soap with that then? Because, like, the whole point of doing a geekdom like that is to engage with fellow geeks. And they're going to ask you questions about this house. And if you don't know the answer, they're going to know that you're just doing this to sell a product. And while, of course, that is the point of business, it comes off as disingenuous to customers and they get put off by it. Should they get put off? Probably not. But they do. And so be true to yourself and do the things that you find interest in. Otherwise, you get burned out. Would be mine. It's a lot of things that I wish I knew before.
I think maybe the customer is allowed to be put off by that.
Yeah,
if I walk into GameStop and I ask them a question about a game on the shelf or a Funko Pop, they should be able to. They should be excited to answer that question.
Yes, because it's kind of weird.
Work here,
like, why do you work at GameStop if you? But at the same time, I understand that jobs are hard to come by. So if you find a job, then that's great. And so that's another reason why, you know.
I mean, they were hard to come by when we popped out of college, but they're not hard to come by.
Oh no, they're still hard to come by. It's a life. It's very difficult right now. Yep, for sure.
Well,
how about you? What types of things do you think you wish you knew before working at the soap shop?
I wish that I would have known the range of questions that can be asked about one thing.
Yeah. Right? That's actually wild.
Hard. Because I, way back, like before I was making soap and I was just doing like bath bombs and all of the smaller things, people would come in and ask me a lot of soap questions and I could not fully answer them. Well, and even things like asking if our bath bombs are gluten-free. Right. Like I'd assume so. Right. But don't quote me on that. I don't really know. Right. Or just questions that don't even really. I don't know. There's a lot of really hard questions that I still don't know how to answer, or I'll answer them to the best of my abilities, and then and I'll be completely honest with people, like, not entirely certain. Here's what I think. Don't quote me on that. Right.
And refer them to the website. There's info there. Right. But that's actually a thing. It's like there are a lot of wild questions that you would never think. And that gluten one was actually one that I got very, very early on at like a fair or something. And I'm like, yeah, all my soaps are totally gluten-free. Accidentally, by happenstance, they were. But then when I was talking on a video, like recently, and I think it was Chris that pointed it out, beer has gluten in it. And so I'm still getting it wrong, right? Like I still got, my soaps are not 100% gluten-free. Right. This one has gluten.
Well, that, and, we'll have two soaps or whatever, and they'll ask what the difference is between them. And so I'll talk about, the differences between them. And then I'll just get weird questions. I don't have any off the top of my head, but real weird questions. Yeah. And even ones, there's a lady, and I call her the lady who asks a lot of questions. I ask a lot of questions.
Right, you do.
But
you do ask a lot of questions.
She asks a lot of questions, and the part that makes it so complicated is that she will ask a question, I will begin to answer, and I'm halfway through answering, and she will cut me off and finish the rest of my answer for me and be wrong. Right. So then I have to go back and say, no, it's like this, and explain a little better, and then she'll ask another question, and if she would have waited until I was done explaining, that question would have been answered. And then she asks another, and then I go to answer, and I get cut off, and she explains the rest, and it's very complicated.
It's a thing. Was that the mean one that wanted to do a wholesale with me?
No,
that was a different one.
Different lady.
She was not a nice one.
She came up to you before. We had a whole bunch of people in the shop because we were about to do a giant class. Yeah. She came in and wanted you to check out something that she had made or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And you were like, kind of busy.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I love chit-chatting with people when they come in the shop, but, like, also, can you read the room? Like, if they're,
There's, yeah.
If I'm running all over the place and there are 50 people in the shop, it's probably because we have a class about to start.
Table is all set up. Right. There's things everywhere. It's a party.
Right. It's all a thing.
Just take a minute.
Bro. Oh, Amberly, drawers and shelves full of molds. Yeah, you should. That's another important thing. Just don't buy all the molds. You don't need them. You don't need them. The Apprentice just had to reorganize all of our molds for the umpteenth time.
You keep buying all kinds.
I can't stop.
You
I
said
got some cool bath bomb molds, though. Aren't they cool? I'm excited for those.
So when we started moving things out of the garage, I took 2 3-foot deep, 3.5-foot wide, 18-inch tall drawers of molds.
Yeah.
5-6 years old. Pulled the drawers out, threw them right in the back of the truck to go to the dump. 2 of those, stacked full.
Yeah, if I haven't moved them from the house to the shop in 6 years, I'm not gonna. I don't need those.
But there are still massive drawers of molds at the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Still,
we've got.
I mean, there's hundreds.
So we have
There's
two
hundreds.
boxes that are about this big, pretty deep. So we got 2 boxes in the closet.
Those are like specialty silicone.
The specialty silicone ones, a lot of them we use pretty often, but it's stuff that's shaped like pumpkins or whatever for more seasonal things. And then we have 6 drawers of other ones that get used regularly, and then we have a whole bunch in the backpack on the bottom of the shelf.
That whole like 10-foot
And
long
then
thing.
there's some under the soap counter.
And those are the ones that we use most often, so they're just always there.
Always there.
Yep.
I think that's it. Got a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
We've got a lot of molds. We should do like a mold destash. You know how like the makeup channels do like makeup destash? We should just do that.
We do a giveaway.
Yeah, exactly. Like destash. Exactly. Who wants my shit? I'm telling you not to buy molds. Do you want my molds? That would
I just
be...
bought some more. They're real great.
Right. Just bought more molds. Need more... But that's what they do in the makeup channels too. I am destashing all of my makeup because I just bought more makeup.
Well, you're probably going to come up with a lot that haven't even been used. Brand new molds.
Right. There are a lot of people who actually would find uses for the things that I bought for like one thing and don't use again. Like back when we did like the bath bomb, the donut bath bombs, I bought like 12 of those. We don't use those anymore. Somebody else could be using those. We don't make bath bomb donuts anymore. Somebody else probably wants to.
Those were cute. Someone should use them.
Right. We're just not going to do them
I know
anymore.
you moved past it, but
We moved past it.
someone should.
Still a good idea. I just don't want to make them anymore. Now, when you were talking about like saying that everything was done for the classes, and I said, is it? I was not thinking about that. I was thinking about the Harry Potter Weekend of Wizardry event that we did.
You can tell that.
Like, we are not done for classes.
You can tell that. I'll
until
jump
we
in
talk
when
about
necessary.
That. That was a thing.
That was fun.
Yeah. It's a great time.
I was talking about it through text messages. But it was.
Were the kids with me that day?
Yes.
Okay.
But they were great.
Yeah, of
They
course.
were absolutely fantastic.
They were literally raised in this environment. This is why they're so personable. This is why they're so whatever. They know how to talk to adults.
Yeah.
They whatever, because
They were
they've
perfect,
always
'cause
been
they
there.
were just there and like checking it out, like, this is real cool. And then the 3 of us are just scrambling and like, we're all gonna die.
Yeah. That was... So, there was... And it was the first one in this area, and there would have been a second one this last year, but COVID, so I think we're whatever. Anyway, huge Harry Potter event, right? It was a 3-day thing. Tens of thousands of people were signed up for all of this thing, and they had like actual characters from the movie that came in for this. Like, it was a big event, right? Victor Crumb was there, and Percy Weasley.
Yeah.
And-
I think they were there that specific day.
Yeah, and then they also had some really cool cosplayers that like looked dead ass.
Dude, I have
like,
a picture of 2 people that were dressed as Dumbledore and McGonagall, and they were like outside on this like random pavilion, just like hanging out. And so I snapped a picture and was like, "This is so cool."
It was amazing. So they turned this hotel
cool.
into, a Harry Potter extravaganza for 3 days, and we were there to teach potions classes, right? Because we did the Harry Potter stuff or whatever, and so we were teaching potions classes, and we were making the sorting bombs in potions, and it totally works. We like renamed all of the scents, so like Nag Champa became like unicorn blood, and whatever.
And the dandelion
root and madder, like all of the things. And we had in the cool bottles, and we had cauldrons that they were making their bath bombs in, and the bath bomb stuff was like flu powdered was the special thing that you put in because it's a color changing bomb for the sorting bombs, right? And so shit tons of prep work for this, right? And we had done a shit ton of classes to prepare for this because it's a big ass event. Okay. Did all the things. Had it down pat. Yeah. Cool. I get there early to do some kind of thing and set up a room and, you know, whatever. And then the apprentices show up, and there's 2 of them that come for this one, and they're helping do the setup. And I'm just a mess because I'm like, God damn, we're about to teach a bunch of people, right? Like at the same time.
It was a big room.
Yeah.
They
gave us a huge room.
There were, I think there were like 12-foot tables, and there were like 4 of them.
Yeah.
In like 6 or 7 rows.
Yeah. It was wild.
They
It
were
was so
all
big.
full.
They were all full. And so we have all of these people. There had to have been like 100 people in that first class, like at least. And I'm like, and so they're filing in, and I have to be in character for that, right? Because I'm Professor Savant, and there's like some kind of, you're going to be stern for this one because, you know, potions master, whatever. And then we had the prefect from Ravenclaw and the prefect from Hufflepuff. It was all a thing. We'd been working on this forever. We all came in costume. We all did the things. And one of the apprentices comes up to me, and I don't know if it was you. It was not you. It was Ariel. And she's like, we have bath bomb molds.
Dude, the look on your face, like because she had asked me first, she was like, do you know where the molds are? I'm like, I got no idea. Like, we've been through all the bags and everything. I don't know where they are. And she's like, go ask. I said, no, you go ask. Like, I'm not going to be the one. I'm not the one. So I told her, I was like, you go ask. And she's like, why? And I'm like, just go ask. I'm busy.
And my, like, world just went. I forgot to pack bath bomb molds. Also, with all of that, I also forgot to pack the cash box.
That was separate though, because you forgot the bath bomb molds, and so we were like, it's good, don't worry, you stay here. Like, and it was only like a 5 or 6 minute drive from the shop. So it was really close. So we're like, don't worry, stay here, just do some talking, whatever. We'll zip up to the shop, we'll grab a whole bunch of molds and like little broken bottom pieces.
Right.
So that they can set up or whatever, and we'll be back shortly. So we zip up there and grab all the molds that we can, and then come back down, go in, it's all good, and we can get started because everybody has molds. And then, because we had a table set up that had Harry Potter themed stuff that people could just come up and buy, and then we don't have a cash box.
It was some Bush League shit. Like, I had done so many events. I had done so many classes in the shop, and I'm like, cool, I forgot to pack molds and the cash box. But luckily, that's the thing, because, like, Ariel comes up and asks me, and my whole world just, like, deflates. And you immediately jumped into action. And you were like, no, it's okay. It's totally fine. We're going to go get them. It's fine. She's the fixer. And so that's really important because sometimes stuff is just a lot for me. And for the most part, I'm very even-keeled, and I keep the high energy, and I am a problem solver too. But for that particular one, I'm like, literally, what do I do? We're going to mold them by hand? This is weird. And it's fine. We're going to take care of it. And she's very calming in the whole thing, and she fixes the whole thing. It was great.
Well, and when we went up to go get the cash box too, because I think you had already started like teaching the class and doing the whole thing, and we're like, oh, cash box, like, this is fun. So and at that point she paid for parking, and we carpooled in my car.
Yeah.
So whatever, she paid for parking, and it was really expensive. It was like $25 for like a couple of hours.
Yeah. And we were like standing in parking spaces.
So she stood in the parking spot while I ran up to the shop to get the cash box. And when I came back and I like pulled in or whatever, she just looked so sad, and she's like, there were so many people who were like yelling at me. Seriously. Because we had like the last spot in the entire parking lot.
Right.
So if you drove in and like looped around, that was the only one left, but it was mine.
Right.
So
exactly.
She fought everyone off, and then, parked, ran back in, and then all was well. And I think we were on the second class of that day because we did 2 sort of back to back,
right,
besides the weird postponing moment. And so we went to go like fill up more buckets, but we couldn't find the like 1 cup scooper thing, right? Because we only had the half one. So we're just like, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. That's whatever.
That was not fun. Especially considering we had done so many of them, and we've done so many of them since.
Well, like, we had it down to a T.
Yeah.
Like, it was easy.
Mercury was in retrograde. This is what I'm going with.
Sure.
It's always in retrograde. Probably. That was not fun. It was terrible. Oh, that would be my worst, like across the board. Hey, that was my little alarm to say that we've made it like without, and the camera has not shut off.
It's because my socks aren't matching.
Cool. Yeah, exactly. And you're here, so now you have to pay for all of it. Yeah, we did need a galleon bin. That would have been great.
We're at nearly an hour and a half there.
That's awesome. Look at that. Hey, you guys, we figured it out. It's cool. It's been a lot. We're not good at these
There's
things.
so much going on back there.
So much going on over here. It's a lot.
Countermeasures.
And Travis is probably going, you know what, if you had just done what I told you to do. But he didn't do anything about audio or about video. It was just audio. And he sent me a very long list of things that really freaked me out. And I'm like, you know what?
Maybe not. Maybe
I'm just going to start with one mic and see how it goes.
Yeah, he asked me that. He was like, did she like order everything?
No, I got
like, whatever,
big freaked out. Like, I'm going to have to figure out how to use all of it. Otherwise, he'd have to be here every time that we did the thing. Could have been terrible.
It was a fair bit of equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot.
It was a lot. And that's all really great stuff. So that's awesome that, he did that, and we will look at it and do it, eventually. But for right now, I'm like, God.
Well, I mean, actually,
I can barely work this thing.
We're going to listen back to this and see how this mic did with 3 people.
Right.
And then
probably get more.
We might be ordering everything off of his list.
Might be ordering everything off of his list anyway.
We're going to see how this sounds.
Yeah. Oh, God. So, any other horror stories? I mean, customer-specific horror stories, I'll tell you what. Here's the thing. You do. Tell me.
Yeah. No, you go. It's all good.
No, I was actually just going to sort of give a prequel to what we're doing next or whatever, and why we're going to kind of keep customer-specific horror stories to not this one. But if you have, you go. You have the floor.
You can give
the
them
floor
a
is
preview.
yours, my dear.
Oh, preview.
I
had a family come in. And there were 2 little kids, and the youngest one, like maybe like a year and a half, started like unwrapping lotion bars, like was over and started unwrapping them, and then parent was like, hey, don't do that, and just kind of like shoved it all back in, and I was like, okay, well now I gotta fix that. That's cool. And like little kid started switching things around, and I'm like, all right, this is fine. And the older kid comes up to talk to me, and I'm, on this side of the soap counter, he's on the other side, and he starts asking me questions, and so we're talking and asking questions, and he's telling me how high he can count, whatever, and so then he runs off, and so I keep doing what I'm doing, and like a minute later, I turn around, and he's right behind me.
Hello, we're making soap. You know what, here?
Right behind the soap counter.
You gotta go.
And I'm like, hey. Hi. Like, here, let's go back, over here, because this is where the adults work. Like, let's go back. And so I bring him back, and I show him some super cool stuff around the shop, like trying to keep him occupied. And we didn't have like any like lye or anything out, so there wasn't any like super duper danger. But I trip over things constantly. So small kid, no.
I'm not gonna trip over you.
He's all doing whatever, and I keep doing my thing behind the soap counter, and I didn't see him out there, and I'm like, I wonder where this kid went. And so I turn around, and he's like, watch this, and he's up on the step stool and jumps off. Yeah. And I was like, all right, like, let's back over here, no more of this. And so I'm like, you know what? I will stay out on the floor too. Right. We'll stay here. It's fine. And so Mom comes up to check out, doing the thing, whatever, and I sent you a text, and I was like, I don't know how to handle this. Right. Because it's been like 3 times, and I don't know how to do things. I'm not very good with people. And so I'm like, I don't know what to do. So, and the mom had told them like multiple times, like to stop running around, whatever, because he was running around, and it made me real nervous because we got a lot of sharp corners. So checking out whatever, and then I look, and I don't see the kids. But the older one had like scooped up little sister and ran behind the soap counter. Right. Again.
Now we have a baby.
And I was like, no, we have a baby. Yeah. And so she turns and like sees them, going back there. And nothing. And so I'm like, oh, hey, like, and like go back there. And I'm like, let's not. Right. Let's just not. And then the baby starts crying because kid like kind of just plops her on the floor and runs off, and everybody's crying and freaking out, and I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Can I pick you up? Is that can I pick up your kid? Your kid is here. Kid. Can I? Yeah.
It was a lot.
I am just that person.
Super sweet family.
With
though.
it, yeah. Because I end up making the best friends with all of that. Like, there have been classes, the number of classes that you have seen me with a kid on my hip, like a baby on my hip that's not part of the class. It's not my kid.
Yeah.
But it's running all crazy.
It's someone's kid.
And so they become my best friends. I'm like, this is cool. And so every time they come in, they give me hugs and it's great. But I'm literally just kind of, I want to make sure that you're here while your mom can focus on what your sister's doing here. So, what's up, dude? You're here. Let's make some bath bombs. It's wild. But, you know, I'm a mom. And so I guess I feel more comfortable just doing that.
Has anyone ever tried to eat any of the products in the shop, kids or adults?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
Especially when you're making macarons.
Yeah,
I
had
look like food.
kids all the time. I want the cookies. Can I eat those? Whatever.
No, you can't eat them. They've tried. And in bath bomb classes, it's always fun with kids because, you know, we do the thing and we're talking about the stuff. And when it's time for the citric acid stage, because as you guys know, if you're watching the stuff, the best pro tip in the world for bath bombs is you put your citric acid in last. And so they've already scented and colored and done all the things. And then, you know, it's time for the citric acid. And I'm telling them that this is the activator, like in slime, right? And then I tell them what it's made out of because it sounds super scary. It's citric acid, but you know, it's what like Sour Patch Kids are coated with and stuff, right? Every single time there's at least one of them.
Yep.
And taste. And I'm like, gross, your hands were in that. And there's like scent in that.
Well, and they hate it too. They
it doesn't taste good.
It doesn't taste like Sour Patch Kids. Like that's because Sour Patch Kids are coated.
Right, exactly. Right.
They're the wrong thing.
A sour thing that's not fun. So yeah, they do. They eat stuff for sure.
Yeah, no.
That's a whole ass thing. It's fun. Yeah. I have a picture actually of, I think it was Aowen, and she was like baby, like 1, right? And I have a little picture, and I gave her a soap that looks like a raspberry tart that I just made, like on a plate that is an actual freaking plate.
So I
didn't think any of this through, right? But I just wanted to show off my soap, and he was home. So I'm going to show it to my 1-year-old who has no idea. And so she's like holding this plate, like very confused, like, I don't feel like, and no, don't eat it. I just put it.
It sounds like you said
really cool. I just wanted to show you.
Right. I just wanted you to look at it.
I want to eat it.
But they want to eat because she's 1. So.
Yeah, they put everything in the mouth.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you just give her a bar of soap that's not decorated like a raspberry tart. She'll probably still put it in her mouth.
I mean, she still eats all the lip butters to this day. She still eats them.
So cute.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something.
It's something.
Or like those times where we couldn't tell whether or not the labels had rubbed off on like a kind of oil and like poly, and you like stuck a finger into the poly and you were like, yeah, no, that's that one. Yep. And you ate like 3 different kinds of things that day.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
I mean, most of it's oils, and it's all still fine to like. You're not gonna die from any of it. So, I'm still the person that like experiences the world by tasting it. So I guess I never grew out of it.
You're still wondering.
Cool. I love that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
The camera issue seems to be solved by putting a fan.
Yeah, there's a fan back there. Yeah.
At the right angle where it doesn't blow on any of us or the microphone, but hits the camera just enough. Apparently it needed a 2-degree difference than what it had, and now we're all good.
Love that for us.
Solid.
Love that.
Yeah, it's a very finicky piece of equipment.
Yeah. So much for, if you're in the market for wanting to start a YouTube channel, do not buy a Sony ZR ZB1 or whatever, marketed specifically for YouTubers, because it's expensive as shit. Just use your phone, because it's got like 3, like, it's a good thing. Just
It would be fine it'd be fine if you live in Alaska.
Also, Pokemon.
Where it's chilly.
That's cool. Yes.
Is it your favourite?
Yeah, totally, I guess.
Where did you get that?
Scout.
Where did she get that?
I don't know.
I know
She's
it's
in
been on there for a
Pokemon,
while,
and
but
so
where did
she
it come
just.
from?
I don't know. I just store the things they give me, treasure them all.
Gotta catch them all.
Gotta catch them all.
I put together a stack at the shop yesterday of just all of the like drawings and things that were everywhere. Like it's just in a little stack.
Yeah.
It's
Those
like
little cards. It's like, I love you, Mom.
There's one that's
I love it.
everywhere.
Yep.
It's awesome.
It's a lot.
I even started doing a lot of her drawing on the iPad, so now it's memory on the iPad instead of paper.
But she does that chat books thing or whatever. It's a monthly, like $5 a month. she gets to create her own. It's like 40 pictures that she can select or whatever. So now that's what she does. She'll give me this book that she's created with her Gotcha Life characters. Like, thank you. It's so nice. It comes with my name on it. It's very exciting. I like it. I paid for it, but I like it. Thank you. Yeah, the electronics are very wild. Seriously, that's not been fun with any of that, for sure. Oh, what do we think? So, Marvel is over, which was fun. And they're popping off like crazy on the website. So if you guys want any of that, I would go get some, because I don't think we're going to have any left by the end of the weekend. So go do B. That would be cool. Next up. Oh, hey, I got something for that. I wonder if people can tell what theme we're doing next. I know this is probably like really annoying on the thing. I probably shouldn't be doing this. This was all not really planned. So, the next theme. Any ideas on what we are doing next?
I saw that and had to think real hard.
I know. That one's a really obscure one. Like, that one is a very obscure... This is what I love about the artwork in the pontoon. While we're waiting to see if anybody has any guesses about the next theme, do you want to hand that brown thing over there, Georgia?
Oh, God, yes.
You got to show the people.
This is amazing.
What we got. You were at the shop for this. Like, when I was doing this on the Instagram thing.
Yeah.
I was losing my mind.
Oh, it's incredible.
She said my name, my business name, on the.
Was
Yeah.
that Insta? I thought it was TikTok.
It was on Insta, yeah.
Was
She did
it?
a live on Insta, yeah.
Dude!
Yeah, show
You
it.
should.
Yeah. So I picked this up for Mr. Soap and Clay because Summer Bichelle, the chick that plays Margot for the Magicians, was doing a live on Instagram and signing like photos that you could, so I went to the thing to check it out or whatever. And so, the glare is going to be awful. Stupid ring lights.
Got this.
I don't
You
know
get
that
the
I
gist.
did got this. But it's Margot.
Margot sent me a signed picture.
A signed picture
That's
from
the gist
Mr.
of
Soap
this.
and Play.
It's amazing.
So, yeah. A clue for this one. Okay, so we have apartments 19 and 20 in New York.
Oh, God.
Oh, now I've given it away.
That's not a clue, that's just the answer.
Yes. I've just given the answer. Game theme, so with a candlestick in the library. Yeah, we should do a clue. That would be such a cool series for sure. Yeah.
Colonel Mustard.
Yeah, that would be a really
with the
fun.
candlestick
Yep.
in the library.
That would be awesome. Yeah, no. So the next one that's coming up is Friends. We are doing a Friends thing, which is exciting because weirdly, this Apprentice is wildly into Friends too, and it's such a weird thing. Like, you like Friends. It's multi-generational, which is cool.
How'd you ever even see an episode of Friends? Just reruns.
Reruns.
Yeah. I mean, so whatever.
It's on Netflix. You can binge it.
Yeah.
It's not anymore, but it was. I have them all in box sets. Each of the
If
seasons.
you need to borrow a DVD.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm old school. I haven't put a DVD in a player in a bajillion years, but I still kept my DVDs.
Do people have DVD players?
I don't know. I think everybody just has like a console, like an Xbox or a PS4 or something. Right?
Something that can also play a disc.
Right. Yes, it's Friends. It's exciting. I'm very excited for this one. Georgia did 3.
Yes, you did 3.
I did 3. And then we have
Right.
really cool bath bombs and bubble bars that we're going to release too that are all for that. It's exciting. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
And we're not doing a new scent. So we did the flaming candle for all the Marvels, and they were all really good.
Yes.
The juniper was the only one that had any problems,
Yeah.
right?
But even then, it wasn't that big of
Just
a
some
deal.
ricing,
It was
right?
Just whatever, yeah. It did really well.
Yeah, they did
liked
do well.
it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I enjoyed the flaming candle a lot too. They were delightful to soak with. But after the Friends thing, we are doing, you do have a DVD. That's awesome. Like, I have not, I'm a gamer, and so I do everything through my Xbox. But after that, we are doing the tea thing.
Yeah.
And so for the next live, we are going to be spilling the tea, like literally, because we're going to be drinking this. It's this cool partnership thing that we're doing, and I'm super excited. And so we'll be drinking some tea and spilling some tea and doing more because I think that wholesale account's going to get brought up at that point.
We
I still hurt by
we
that
could do
one.
the entire live based on that.
We could do the whole last
Oh,
live
we could talk
based
about
on
it for like 3 hours.
that wholesale account was a disaster.
Which wholesale account is this?
The one with the bath
The
bombs?
next,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I'm just making sure I'm on the same page.
That was not
Woohoo!
fun.
That was lovely.
Does Monica's bar feature a turkey in bed? Oh my god. Dude.
I don't know. Does it?
We're not saying, but that was an amazing take right there. That was good. Just wait till you see how I made it. It was weird. Yeah. Because we are actually a little bit ahead of schedule right now because I had to do that every other day thing because of the algorithm. And it didn't really help anything. Because here's the thing. I've actually had big soap channels messaging me, DMing me after they saw my, post about it, asking why I thought that the algorithm is weird right now because they're not getting the viewership they're used to either. Honestly, I really do think because we're not the only group on the YouTube that's dealing with this. I think it's because the world is opening up right now. And as the world opens up, people are leaving their houses and therefore watching YouTube less, which is great. That's awesome. Just keep that in mind for your peoples that you're following or whatever on the YouTube. If you see a video, go in and engage with it and help out with the algorithm. Give it a like, give it a comment, whatever, and help them stay within the whatever. Because it's not about the numbers. It's not about, whatever. But at the same time, it's like when you make a cake and you're really proud of this cake that you made and you decorated or whatever, and nobody says, hey, look at this pretty thing that you did. It kind of hurts, So people put all of this work into their videos and stuff and they just want acknowledgement for that. So for all of the people that you like, just keep in mind while the world is opening up and you guys are living awesome lives that just go give them a like and give them some love. And me too, if you want to do that too, that's cool. But so we are going back to daily content, but as a result, yeah, we are a little bit ahead of schedule because every other day. So Friends is already in the can and ready to go, and it's exciting. And Monica does have a chicken head or a turkey head.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. That one is wild. And a turducken bar of soap. Oh God, yeah.
A turducken is complicated, just as making a turducken. Making a turducken bar of soap.
Just get a whole bunch of different embeds
Roll
and then
it,
do
yep,
one and
yep.
then do the next one and then do the next one.
It'd be fun. So I think the next live is in 2 weeks. Right? Yes, that's it. In 2 weeks, we're going to do the next live. And I think we'll probably do it on a Sunday this time because we don't need to. Oh, you need to say library again.
Library.
There you go. Good job.
Why do I need to say library?
Because you were asked to do the thing. Yes.
All right then.
Yes, there it is.
Did we talk about the library?
Clue would have been a good guess for this, though. I just made that connection that they were guessing that this was Clue because it's yeah, you said library.
Yeah.
It's Clue.
Colonel Mustard with the candlestick in the library.
Right, because that totally looks like the Clue thing. I get that. That was a good guess. But it's Friends. And then after that, we'll have 2 new fragrance companies that we'll be working with. So, coupon codes for those ones, by the way. So that's really exciting when we release that. Anything else? Any other action items that we need to get out? Could I be wearing any more clothes? Could I be wearing any more clothes? There you go. We have a Friends thing. Well done. I like that soap chef. Yep. I was like, I'm not wearing a lot of clothes right now. What are you talking about? Are you wearing a lot of clothes? I get it. The reference. Yes. Yeah. No. Do you guys have anything else? Any last things that you want to chit chat or ask about or
Burning questions.
Guidance for any of the things? Do you hate the lives? Do you wish we would stop? Should they be more structured?
No.
People
can say they should be more structured, but they won't be. So don't even put that out there as an option.
It's kind of not how I roll. Nothing is structured.
Hey, you should be scripted. Hey, no.
There are people on my comments, in old videos or whatever, that are commenting now on old videos, saying things like, less talking, more soaping. And I'm like, I'm literally freaking making soap, but also I'm going to talk. That's part of the channel.
Eventually the channel is going to be just all talking, no soaping.
Yeah, eventually it's going to be me making soap while I talk about some weird thing in history that
There'll be no
here's what's on my
no
brain
explanations.
right now.
It's not even going to tell you what's going on under this. It's just a pretty thing I'm making as I talk.
Yeah, let's talk about the Quakers. I mean, whatever.
That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Right?
In my brain now.
What were you into this morning?
Apparently I'm thinking about Quakers. I had oatmeal. There's the connection. That's what I ate for breakfast. That's the connection.
You didn't have mac and cheese?
No, the kids had mac and cheese.
Oh, all right.
They had a sleepover. Don't judge me.
Why don't we call it sleepover?
They don't
no
sleep.
one sleeps.
Yeah,
no
nobody
one
ever
sleeps.
sleeps.
Because
Yeah.
if your kids don't sleep, you don't sleep. Why don't we just call it a stay up over?
I know, seriously. Yeah. That should literally be the thing. Actually, the next door neighbor parents they asked me yesterday, do you have rules about what time they go to sleep? Because it was a question of they sleep there or they sleep here. And I'm like, I don't have rules. I'm not going to try to do that. They have to be in their room by 10 o'clock, but whatever. And so they're like, well, then they're coming to your house then. We're not going to do that. So there's no sleeping involved in sleepovers. I'm glad that you guys like the lives. It's okay, Cindy. You can get the replay. It's a lot of cool weirdness, I think. I'm just really excited that the camera stayed rolling this whole time. That was fun.
Yeah,
And
we're all good, it looks like. Technical issues solved.
so the acceleration I have found, Soap Chef, can be avoided if you soap your lye solution at 2.4 times the lye for your water. So that extra bit of water in there, it gets soaked up by the clay. And so you're very unlikely to get things like glycerin rivers and stuff, but it does really extend that batter, so it still stays fluid. I mean, you've seen my pores, Georgia's pores, all the pores. We can keep a batter very, very fluid for a long time. So play with the clay. I got 3 new clays that I'm going to be playing with really, really soon. And I'm very, very excited about them because they're really great for hair. And so I might be doing a new shampoo bar recipe. What are you laughing about?
No raisins. Agreed. And also call it, hey, come destroy my house for 12 hours and then leave.
That would be a great name for sleepovers. Yeah. Just come wreck it all.
That's completely accurate.
The neighbor kids, though, they know my house and my rules. And so they're actually really good about cleaning up in my house. Otherwise, they don't get to come over anymore. I'm very clear with them on that. And so they clean up, which is nice.
A couple of the neighborhood children take offense to that, and they'll leave for a week because
Yeah,
they don't want to be told to clean anything.
Right, and they just won't come back
That's
for a
fine
week.
too.
I have
Yeah.
hard rules with that. You can come over, you can hang out, but whatever you mess up, you got to fix it. And some of them get mad and just leave. And that's fine. That's fine.
The best part is when they do that, and they pop back the next day.
Here's your mess.
Can we play?
Nope.
Yeah, you can go clean this shit out.
Right.
Then you can play.
You left your mess in the back.
Oh, you're going to go home. All right. We'll do this for a month. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad that you enjoy the talking and the things, Marianne, because I enjoy doing that. And I'm not the kind of thing that's ever going to be like a weirdly curated, perfect pour, because that's just not how we roll. We throw in the messes and the whatever, because that's real life in the soap world for us, and other people are actually very, very capable of not making messes when they soap. That's not us. No.
I watched a lot of videos though where it's just music and it's all gentle and nice,
Yeah.
and there's no spills, there's nothing.
So delightful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You do see the frame jumps.
So,
how do you
where
do
they
it?
killed something
Oh,
and
you
they cut it
totally
out.
see the frame
Yeah.
jumps, right? Of course, because there's spills happen, but yeah.
Yeah, the whole concept of not talking and just having music in the background, I can't stand that for
No.
anything at all because I don't sit and watch YouTube like you don't.
I don't watch YouTube.
You listen to it.
I listen to it, yeah.
So if I'm listening to something, if I've got something on YouTube that's a how to or a do this, do that, whatever, I'm usually driving.
Right.
I can't read the text on the screen over some music. They have to be speaking, they have to be explaining, or I'm going to skip through to something else.
Right. Yeah, I treat YouTube like a podcast. And when it's necessary for me to look, I of course look. But for the most part, I'm always listening. And I'm always listening. It's 100% of the time, YouTube is like my podcast, just on the background with people that I like. So there's that. And so that's why we do the thing. Wanting to do a water discount, but want my 3-pound molds to be full. Do I up my oils and lye? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You plan on doing it that way. So fiddle around with soap calc until it hits the ounceage that your mold will accept and how much you want, and do the discount that way. So yeah, increase your oils and your lye. I'm the actual reality TV. I don't know that that's a good thing though. My reality is A, boring, and 2, just that's it.
I mean, this is right. This has been 2 hours of your reality.
And it's, I mean, I really
even if the camera's
enjoy
not rolling, it's
my life.
occurring.
It's just so weird. Like when I come in and I'm like, dude, there's like a fire alarm. Oh, Tim, I don't know if you're on. I think it was Tim or Mr. Herks. I don't know. One of you. You asked about the microwave going out. It was the microwave. There was a sensor in the microwave, and that was the noise. I went and inspected. So thank you. That was not the fire alarm, a rogue fire alarm. It was literally the microwave dying.
Horror story. I filled the shop up with smoke.
Oh, yeah. What did you burn? The rice pack.
So we had a giant rice pack that we heat up in the microwave and then put in the oven with soap things to keep everything warm and awesome. I put it in the microwave, and then after a couple minutes, I was like, it smells kind of smoky in here. And then I look over at the microwave, and then I open it up, and a bunch of smoke comes out, so I shut it. And then I look across the room at the front door, right as somebody like opened the door to come in, and I'm like, it's hazy in here. And so I ran and I like opened the back door, and they came in for like 2 seconds and then left because I think that they just like came into where they weren't meaning to come into.
Right.
And then left. And so I went and I opened the front door, I opened the back door, and I texted you. I was like, if there's a fire alarm that goes off, how do I turn it off?
Right.
Like how do I make it stop?
Right. So
that nobody shows up. So eventually every like couple of minutes I'd open up the microwave and let some smoke out and then shut it and then the same thing, and it went on for like half an hour, and then I pulled the rice pack out and there was an entire like hole burned into it and all the rice was like black and gross, and so I pulled it out, and then the side of the microwave there was like a metal plate and there was a whole bunch of like black whatever on it because I lit it on fire.
Yeah.
So we don't have a rice pack anymore. And I'm still scared to use that microwave because I don't trust it at all.
You put the little oh shit sticky note on it, and I smell that with a frowny face or whatever. Yeah. And I like inspected the microwave and I texted Mr. Soap and Clay with pictures, and I was like, is this fine? Can we use it? And he's like, yeah, it's fine. Use it. And so I just kept using it. Like I cleaned it out with vinegar and did the whatever to get the majority of the smoke smell out, but it was still smelling bad for a very long time. And I just kept using it, and you didn't touch it for like, I think 3 months.
No, absolutely not.
That is not happening. Yeah.
Because I am the one to turn the microwave on and start a fire.
Yeah. That was a whole last thing. Yeah.
Only me.
Impressive skills.
Thank you.
That was a thing. That definitely, it's cool. We all do things. I set like melt and pour. I did that with melt and pour once years ago.
You burned through beakers?
Oh shit, yeah. Well, I mean, we had this conversation online before when we were talking about glass versus plastic. We have melted more plastic containers, broken more plastic containers than ever with glass. You dropped a Pyrex once and broke it.
I did.
Right? Yeah.
I think that's where my initial like, when my socks match, I don't have a good day. Dropped the Pyrex, and then what happened after that? Something else happened after that.
It was like a day.
It was just a day, and everything was just bad. And I was like, okay, well, this is it. So, light the microwave on fire, break the Pyrex.
Right.
I dropped I was carrying a bag of baking soda to the bath bomb table or whatever, and I went to like set it down, but instead of fully setting it down, it was like this far from the ground, and I dropped it just
the
down,
bottom went
and
out.
the entire side split. So I had to like real quick tip it on its side and then lift it up that way and then find a way to shimmy it into the thing.
And all these times your socks were matching.
Yeah.
See? Yeah, mismatched socks all the time. If you want to have a
All
good
the
day,
time.
don't match your socks. The Soap Apprentice has spoken.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're excited. And they did. Chris just asked, didn't they? Yep. That's the thing. So, yeah. Do we have anything else to tell the peoples, the Sudsers, the tribe before we head out on this one? You have to get back to work.
I do.
Yeah. Sucks for you.
I've left shoring posts jacked up under the floor there.
It sounds like I have to help you with that, though. So I'm going to have to help with some things.
Yeah. It's
Well, we have to get back
two-man
to work
job coming up
in the house. And so as much fun as this has been, which has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for like being part of our break from another part of our reality, which is it's going to be beautiful when it's done. But right now it's going to be scary because we're about to jack up our house, our second story, and fix some stuff.
Yeah, I would say it's really coming together, but right now it's completely coming apart.
Oh yeah, it's
But that's
this
my
is
purpose.
demo time right now.
Well, it looks
Maybe
great.
by the next time we talk, we'll actually have
It is a
people progress
lovely
made, and
It's
we
a
can be like,
lovely
"Oh,
wall.
everything's gorgeous. It's working so well." But right now, we're taking out floor joists and flipping them around. That's happening.
Mhm.
So it's all approved and permitted. You can actually look them up. It's good. They know
That would
we're
be
doing
weird.
this.
Don't look at my permits, but
Well, I mean that would be weird,
Yeah.
but also it's we're supposed to do this. It's just terrifying.
your opinion doesn't matter. Only the inspectors.
Yeah, the inspector says it's fine. Brazilian purple clays are delightful for sure. I love Brazilian purple clays. Yes, thank you everybody for joining us. Does anybody else have anything to say before we kick off and do the thing?
I think I've said enough.
Are we all
This is your
happy
first
that
time,
the
mate. You got
Apprentice?
anything else you want to sign us out?
Mm.
You play
You
us
know what
out.
to tell the people?
Play it
Thanks
out.
for having me. You're awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. They're all happy that you showed up. So they were really looking forward to seeing the Apprentice. So I'm glad that you guys got to do so. So now you can put a face to the hands and the hand expressions because she's so good at them.
I don't think it's been a bad experience, so she'll probably come back.
She'll probably come back. Well, she has to for the tea thing because she is into tea, and I don't know much about tea. So she's going to teach us the tea thing.
Well, there
Me,
it
the
is. She's
tea.
back in a
I don't
couple
know enough
weeks
to
then.
teach anybody.
But we're going to do the thing. Sure. She bought cute little... We're prepping for it. It's
We'll
going to be
get
fun.
there.
Yes. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Appreciate every single one of you. Thank you, thank you. And we are going to go. But tomorrow, again, we're going back to daily content. So you will get a video from me tomorrow and every single day from now on. Because algorithm or not, I feel weird posting every other day when this is a 365-day project. So, yes.
That means you might have 2 videos in a day coming up to catch up, yeah?
No, I'm just
No?
going to count that
Just
as
gonna let it roll.
every other. Yeah, that 1 week, whatever. And we're just going to keep
Alright.
on from there. Yep.
All right.
Thanks for making my life harder, though, with that. Just mentioning that, though. No. Not too in depth.
Ah.
That makes the algorithm really bad. So, yes, thank you guys
All
so
right.
much. We'll see you later. Bye. Oh, God.